daughters because they laugh at his jokes. Well, some
Oh,
laugh at your jokes.
Just for clarity, it's daughters because for some reason Zoom decided to like squelch the first part of that, so it actually sounded like you said otters, which would also be good.
That'd be awesome. Sounds free, does
yeah.
poetry, and hangs out with otters.
Yes.
Right? Before chatter, like totally sounds like otters.
I love my girls, but that's kind of better, really. Otters is a better bio.
So, we should share the produce link because I'm thinking of actually ordering produce to be delivered to your home. I mean, fresh. Come on, right?
That's my day job. High Five Produce. We still deliver during shelter in place. Look us up.
So number
Bay.
5produce.com. Yeah. So now would like to introduce our favorite chopsticker. He's been with Chopsticks Alley for a long time, since we started, basically. So Chef Tu David Phu, who is very pensive today, and we're trying to cheer him up. Couldn't send him any alcohol. The fish, I don't know if our sunfish sauce, fine. I think you need to send Chef Tu a few more cases. I'm just saying.
Actually, Sunfish is on Twitch right now. They said, "Hi guys, Sunfish Sauce here." Smiley face.
Very good. They're on. But I did warn them when we talk about fish sauce today that we cannot be biased, that we're going to give the feedback, like pure truth about fish sauce. Look at that. That's a commercial going across on Chef Tu's screen. So, all right, let me read off his bio. So get ready here. So he is from Oakland. He is Vietnamese American, and he's a chef up in Oakland. His cuisine began garnering press and accolades. First in 2016 with his weekly pop-up dinners called Ăn, a Vietnamese dining experience, which we have had a chance to try. It was so yummy. He basically elevates Asian food, so it's nice. Then in 2017, the San Francisco Chronicle named him Rising Star Chef. And in 2019, he was featured as a contestant on Bravo's Top Chef season number 15. And he was invited to co-host ABC's Taste Buds Chef's Giving, which was nominated for James Beard Award. My God.
Rockin', man. Rockin'.
He's first generation Vietnamese American. Food justice comes naturally to him, and he finds opportunities to use it as a medium or a vessel for meaningful work through cooking. He is a James Beard Smart Catch leader and recognized for promoting the use of sustainable seafood options. That's nice. And an avid teacher, sharing the riches and lessons of his birthright through food. And that's why he's perfect for sharing all about fish sauce with us today. All right, so Chef Tu, please say hello. He's muted.
You're still muted. You're still muted.
We show his video, and then we'll have him talk about
Okay,
that.
yeah, all right, great. Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that.
There you go.
My name is Tu David Phu, and I'm from Top Chef Season 15. And we'll be going over one of my winning quick-fire dishes, corn salpicon. It's essentially a chopped salad.
Your time starts now.
First, I run to the fridge and I grab the ingredients: corn, eggs, herbs. I see parsley, thyme, basil, mint, chive, tarragon, and avocado. I'm gonna make the perfect green goddess dressing. Now I shuck my corn, throw it over a fire, turning about every 2 minutes. Next, throw Persian cucumbers on. I'll let that char and I run back to my station. Let's make your emulsification. Throw in all your herbs: parsley, chive, dill, a little bit of tarragon, a clove of garlic, a splash of vinegar, and turn on a food processor. Toast for 2-3 minutes to make sure everything's smooth out. Take that out, set that aside. At this point, your cucumbers and corn should have cooled off. Take the corn off the cob. Just grilled this corn. Some's half cooked, some's half charred. Mixture of both textures and flavors shows complexity. Take your cucumbers that have been charred, dice them the same size as the corn. Take 2 avocados, seed it out, and cut them into cubes. Dump that in the bowl as well. Mix everything with a fork, and then dress it with your herb mayonnaise. Let it sit for a few minutes, and then add fish sauce. If you're not comfortable with fish sauce, use salt. I like fish sauce because you're not just adding sodium, but you're adding umami. And that's it. You could do this ahead of time. It's great for parties. I hope you guys enjoy.
The winner of the first quickfire challenge is Tu. Congratulations.
I was so fucking surprised I won because I did a salad and everyone else cooked meat. You know what I mean?
Did you cry, Chef Tu? Did you cry? I'm gonna unmute you. There you go. I'm controlling ship now. Come on. To win in that challenge there.
Oh,
This was on Bravo's Top Chef when you won one of the challenges.
oh yeah, it was amazing experience, opportunity to share my story with the nation, and kind of break and introduce new narratives, especially to Asian Americans. I'm a Vietnamese American on TV, standing 6'2" with a bunch of tattoos. I'm pretty sure that shattered other people's worlds, and the fact that I'm coming from Oakland. So extremely blessed more than anything. For me, it wasn't about fully winning anything. It was more about representing myself well, my community well. So. And
I think you did a good job. You were like the nice, gentle chef. You were the one who helped other people when they needed, which was like, I didn't expect that. I mean, I knew you as a person, obviously.
Yeah.
As an audience member who watches this big, tall guy with tattoos and all this, they didn't expect that. So that was really, you represented Oakland and our community really well.
Absolutely. Thank you. I had a Rocky Balboa, Apollo Creed mindset. You know, like if I'm going to challenge you, I want you to be at your best. You know, I don't want to win in default. That's lame.
Yeah. So tell us about your career, like, and your identity before, after, during. Tell us everything.
So yeah, thank you for that question, Trami. Food is one of these blessings in disguise that I didn't realize how powerful it would be until this day. Being Asian American, or even being a community of diaspora, or son of immigrants, daughter of immigrants, refugees, whatnot, it seems commonly so that in particular demographic, families don't talk to each other. In particular, my parents. I think it's a trait of PTSD, being through war, very difficult situations, refugee camps, seeing horrific things. So in my youth and to this day, they don't talk to me. So I didn't understand love in a very physical, leave it to Beaver, I tell you every day sort of way. And it came to a point in my career where I was cooking everyone else's cuisine opposed to my own. So there's a moment where I pivoted inward. I'm like, I want to cook Vietnamese food, and I didn't know what that meant. So I went to my mom and other matriarchs in my family to learn the story about food. And coincidentally so, when she was teaching me food, she would tell me things and stories and insights about her history and her path and her journey here to America. And it was like that moment where it just, a light bulb hit, and I understood how powerful food could be. So I'm not into, I have some fine dining training and, cooked in like really expensive restaurants, whatever that means. And the opposite is true too. I've done fast casual, but I think for me now, food is a place of healing for me, and food is a place of storytelling and education and bringing people together. So, and I think it's appropriate for the times. I think we need it more than ever. Demonstratedly so in history, music has brought people together. Art has inspired and bring people together. And I think it's the appropriate time for food to bring people together. Why not? Yeah.
So do you feel like you are rooted now, whereas before you may have not really, were that connected? Do you feel rooted now?
Yeah, I have a better understanding of what community is and what culture is. And I think oftentimes, from my very limited understanding as an adolescent, I thought community and culture meant that I would have to look like you. And I just want to reiterate, I don't look like the stereotypical Vietnamese person. And the assumption is that you have to drive a blacked out Mercedes, stand 5'2", gel slick black hair, slacks. And I'm not trying to put stereotypes out there. I'm trying to break them. So I'm just identifying them. but I didn't fit that narrative with other people who weren't Vietnamese and Vietnamese. I didn't fit the narrative. So I had to find other ways to belong and understand how I am Vietnamese or I am Asian American, because I didn't fit in. And a lot like us, us kids who are born in the 70s, 80s, and the 90s, like, we couldn't identify with our own culture. So what did we resort to? We resorted to hip hop. Hip hop offered us culture. Pop culture offered us culture. New Kids on the Block offered us culture. NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, whatever. Gaming offered us culture, but we didn't understand ourselves. And I feel so very blessed that food gave me insight to look at who I am. And seemingly so, people would think that understanding more about yourself and your history and who you are and what you represent, you would think that would further remove you from everyone else, but actually it's done the opposite. I've been able to share the stories of struggle with people in my community, like indirectly. So I would never thought that I could connect with other first generation kids, immigrant mothers, refugee mothers from that had history with Korean War, World War II, Khmer Rouge, Sephardic Jews, Muslims, everything. Because I think the more we share with each other, the more we understand that we're all just human. And whether you cut my hand or you cut somebody else's hand, we all feel the same amount of pain. So it's a very interesting, like you watch YouTube, you watch Eater, there's like these funky pop beats, about food, but I think there's a lot more depth to it. And for me, I've just started to explore it. So.
Wow. I feel like food allows me to be who I am, and the sharing of it.
Yeah.
And the sharing it not watered down. Like, I'm going to use my stinky fermented shrimp, and that's like magical to be able to share that with someone who can appreciate it. Also share
Absolutely.
or like, ew, and that's offensive. It's, but for some reason, the person doing it didn't feel they were being offensive. It was acceptable to be offensive to colored people. Right?
Could I make a statement? And it's a controversial statement. In my limited experience, I haven't interacted with the 8 billion or 10 billion people in the world. However, in my experience, I find that it's second, third, fourth generation Asian American, second, third, fourth, and so on. Asian American kids that those are the ones that don't want to eat Asian food. They don't want the fish sauce. They don't want the stinky tofu. And I think more so than my Irish colleague from Boston. And it doesn't fit the narrative, but I find that for myself in my community, my experiences to be true. And I think for one is that there's this thing that we don't talk about, is that there's a self-shame in a lot of immigrant communities to assimilate because they want to assimilate, That's
right. Because they think it's okay to do that because they've seen it done.
Yeah.
They've experienced it. So now they're doing it. It's like a way of deflecting. There's a shame, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Shame with it. And that's why. And no one talks about it. And we are talking about it.
Yeah. That's right. Our parents didn't talk about it, so we should talk about it. Yeah. I think it's very, very important. Yeah. And I think it's not just an identity thing, It's for me, when you talk about community culture or food or anything connected to that sort of tree and roots, you're telling people who you are, where you are, and where you come from, like time and place. I'm giving you my history book, so you can understand and so we could connect with each other. And why is it important for me to give you my history book? Because the playing field has never been leveled, so you can understand what I've been through, how I can interact with you. It's a precursor to interacting with people. So that's why I think it's important. And because human compassion lies in all of us instinctively, right? we take that information and we make an effort to kind of move forward as a species, let alone a community, right? So I think I don't know, that's my understanding of 2020, and hopefully it stays true for the next 10 years. But if not, there's always opportunity to learn.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself now with the whole, COVID, and in terms of the ambassador, if you will, as Sun Fish Sauce was saying, that you're growing into a Vietnamese cuisine and culture ambassador. Where do you see yourself? Like, what would you be doing to continue to spread spread this message?
Well, thank you for that question. And let me just address the fact that, with COVID-19, speaking very publicly, it's dismantled my industry. That's everyone in hospitality, everyone in food, everyone in retail. And there's a lot of people suffering right now. So I think myself, opposed to I don't want to be a victim of anything. I choose to pivot myself out from being a victim because I have certain privileges. I have a certain voice and certain opportunities and platforms. I want to redial that back and think as a leader and help solve problems that we're all going through. But I can't do that myself. I'm going to partner up with other leaders in the industry and trying to figure that out. And as of this moment, I don't have the answer. However, I can guarantee that everything pre-2020, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
So.
And it's okay to not have the answer right now, and to take the time. To seek it. And also, you have a wonderful partner. We need to congratulate you on your engagement.
Thank you so much. We got engaged in February, and we took a celebratory trip for most of February in Europe.
On her name.
And then Jean. Shout out to Jean. I love you, babe. My fiance, my soon-to-be wife. Love you, life partner forever. Even when he turn into ash and carbons, that still be the one, So I love you, Jean. By the way, she makes kimchi, plant-based kimchi. So check her out on her Instagram handle, Kimchi Genius, or www.kimchigenius.com.
I love it. Does she ship? Like, if I want to order some?
I think you would just DM or email her, and I think she would, depending on the size of the shipment, I'm pretty sure she'll consider it. So. Okay,
sounds good. Yeah, congratulations there. And you did get to go to Paris, right, for your engagement?
Yeah, we went to Versailles, we went to Paris, and then we went to Barcelona and Spain. And then when we came back, COVID-19 hit. It was crazy.
Lucky. So on that note, why don't we a little bit?
Right. Yeah. With
Kristina Robertson, who will come back and perform a piece called Untitled. So that means we have no idea what the piece is. Okay. If you're ready, we're gonna have to let you know when to go.
Okay. This is a poem I wrote for National Poetry Month for Shelter in Place. Just kind of based off of all the news and the media. So here we go. Power off, log off, shut down, unplug, block it, stop it. Now close your eyes. Listen to the drum beat of your heart. Learn to part from the static and ecstatic frenzy, a parade of charade as our hopes are afloat. Use this time given to gift yourself of you. Draw your pen like a weapon. Aim for acceptance that may threaten any misconception of its reckoning. Recognize your beauty, beckoning us to elevate your fate beyond its duty. You were born to light desolation on fire. You are meant to be here in this moment, not concealed behind your device. Suffice is not enough. You should never be afraid because quarantine can't keep all the creativity contained.
Thank you. That was so good and so perfect in this moment. And I do feel that artists will save us, artists and leaders and people who believe in community. I think once we come out of all this, it's going to be okay. So why don't we invite all the guests to join in at this moment so we can talk about the whole food industry. But why don't we do a little bit of edumacating So did you guys bring your fish sauce, Kristina, Chris, and Tassie? We.
Wait, mine's hold on. I got
Are you? Stop. Ooh, that's a 3 Shrimp brand.
Yeah, this is a Thai sauce.
Thai sauce. Okay, so I think Chris. So I think we're gonna have Kristina.
Yeah, you're gonna clown on my fish sauce. I know you guys are gonna clown on my fish sauce, but it's cool.
We're gonna have Kristina read the ingredients on your fish sauce, so that Chef Tu can,
Okay. Oh, shoot.
Dissect it.
All right. Ingredients are right here. Ready? Anchovy, extract, water, salt, sugar, and MSG.
Okay.
Oh.
I won't say anything. All right. And how about you, Chris? Read off.
It's all the same without the MSG. So anchovy extract, water, salt, and sugar.
Okay. So I'm going to read Sun's. Okay. Here we go. First of all, I want to point out it is a gold Geng Ta, which is a region in Vietnam winner. A gold, that was 1996. And then in 2002, it's a gold award in Vũng Tàu, which is another region in Vietnam. And then gold award in Hanoi in 2004. Okay. And the ingredients. This is all you're allowed to have.
Okay.
Anchovy and sea salt. That's it. Okay.
Wow, so pure.
Can you explain like why and why it matters or whatever?
What the heck?
Absolutely. So you only want anchovy and salt. It just keeps it pure. It's the same thing with olive oil. What do you expect to have to be in olive oil?
Olive oil.
Olives, right? And anytime there's a term, anything that's related to an extract, what that means, it's a byproduct of something. It turned into a paste, and then it's used as an additive. So let's use an example of would you ever use lemon extract opposed to fresh lemons?
No.
Right? Mint extract opposed to and I don't want to. I'm not fish sauce shaming anybody. I just want you guys to have the facts and the information, and you can use it. But at the same time, it's very similar to olive oil. When you cook with olive oil, you don't need to buy an extremely expensive extra virgin olive oil. You just buy like a regular olive oil because you're going to cook with it. And you use a really expensive olive oil to use it as a finisher at the end of the dish. And it's the same thing with fish sauce. So it just really depends on the scenario and the situation that you're using it. So fish sauce, what is fish sauce? People always associate it with salt. They say it's Asian salt or Vietnamese or Southeast Asian salt. That is true. However, it's salt with tons of amino acids. What are amino acids? They're the building blocks of protein. Mm-hmm. And just because we have 4 other speakers on here, I'm just gonna point you guys out.
Yeah, for sure.
What's amino acids? Toss it. But I apologize. I could super geek out on this stuff.
Go for it. Geek.
Go for it, right? So it just coincidentally. So I'm sorry.
Somebody wants to know why does fish sauce stink? Wait.
I have an article titled "Why Does Fish Sauce Stink?" I'll go into it a little bit, but I'm going to force you guys to read it. It's on my website at cheftu.com. But basically, the reason why fish sauce stinks is because it's not done right. It's made with crap. And if you have really good, high quality stuff like this, it doesn't stink as bad. But at the end of the day, you're dealing with a ferment. Anything that is fermented, it usually has a fermented smell. Everything from kimchi to pickled, what is it called? Sauerkraut, kimchi, fish sauce. It just comes with the territory of ferments. And there's things you could do to it to help tame certain taste or smell that you're not accustomed to. But if you've been cooking with it for a few hundred years or a few thousand years, it's kind of rooted in your genes and genetics. Let me ask you this. how do people eat blue cheese?
Mm.
Right? Durian, blue cheese, they stink the same to me, but I love both.
Yeah.
Right? So it's all about perspective on how you use it. And if you follow me on Instagram and you follow my website as a subscriber, I post oftentimes recipes and videos on how to use fish sauce. I'm very passionate about it. There's ways around it. And fish sauce is a lot like scotch. I mean, if you guys drink scotch or if you don't know scotch, scotch can be very potent, but you have to oftentimes add a little bit of water so the bouquet can bloom, meaning that it can be palatable because it's so concentrated. Right? So fish sauce is the same thing. There's things you got to add to it to make it bloom.
Chef Tu, there's a question for you. When cooking fish sauce, is there a way to minimize the aroma? Go outside?
So if you're cooking with fish sauce and you want to minimize your aroma, open your windows.
Open the windows.
Open the windows. And another thing too, it really depends on how you're using the fish sauce. If you're adding it to a stew, it wouldn't stink as much. But if you're doing a dish like kakoto, which is a clay pot catfish with caramel, it requires you to use quite a bit of fish sauce, and you caramelize it with sugar. That, as a default, always bring it outside. But I also guarantee you, if you use the higher quality stuff, it won't stink as bad. You know, let's go into anchovy extract. I find personally myself, my opinion, for me it's a fact, but my opinion as well, anytime I've used anything with anchovy extract, it stinks really, really bad. And what is anchovy extract? Anchovies are caught in the millions in a day. So what do they do with the leftover fish that's not as fresh, the stuff that's on the bottom of the barrel? They make extract out of it. And that's why I think, my strong opinion, or at least I know, fish sauce can be stinkier. So,
I have a question. I read that article, and on the sun thing, it had like different numbers, like 33 and I don't know 40 or what are those?
You are
numbers?
doing your homework, Chris.
Dude, I want to know what we're talking about.
Like I mentioned before, fish sauce has tons of amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein. Coincidentally, and almost everything in nature everything living in nature has amino acids. Plants, fish, mushroom, beef, meat, whatever. Coincidentally, black anchovies from the South China Sea, they naturally have a lot of amino acids. And by fermenting that and putting in salt, those amino acids are released. And there's this cool thing that they do in Vietnam where they measure the presence of amino acids by a number. That number will be a range from anywhere from like 17 to 50 or 60 degrees N. The N stands for nitrogen. Why is there a measurement of nitrogen in fish sauce? When there are amino acids in a liquid like fish sauce, it naturally emits nitrogen, and they measure the nitrogen that is emitted. So the higher the number, the more umami, the more savory, the more amino acids that there are in that fish sauce. Isn't that super cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Science.
And a high quality fish sauce would range anywhere from a number, I would say, anywhere from 30 and up. Red Boat, sunfish sauce, they always are 30 and up. Anything.
What's my number, man? What's the set?
Usually the cheaper brands, and not calling you guys out, but usually the cheaper brands, they don't put the number on there because the number is so low, and also oftentimes because the measurement of amino acids are very low, they add additives like MSG.
So, hey, am I the only one with MSG?
And let me make this point too. MSG isn't. I don't think it's bad. I think it's propaganda. Where it's a fact that it's propaganda. Where American culture, uncredited American culture, or uncredited specialists like ancient aliens specialists, theorists, they put bad publicity out there because of anti-Asian sort of feelings.
Right.
But amino acids is just like salt. It's the same thing. It's a reduction of a certain type of ingredient, and it's just in other ways like an extract. So it's not bad. and the health effects, no matter whatever food blogger claims on the effects of it, there's no scientific evidence that it's bad for you.
Yeah, and in a lot of American foods, they have MSG all over it.
Oh yeah.
That's why it's such a racist thing to say that, Chinese restaurants have MSG and all that. But if you eat American chips,
Doritos
that has
also MSG.
Cheese has tons of MSG in there, tons. Like
Really?
I don't, Dorito cheese, like it's the same thing. So if you go to a pho restaurant, you accuse them, or if you knowingly so that they use MSG, I'm sure you should have the same effects with like Doritos, and everything else that has MSG in it. Mushrooms have MSG.
And that's probably why there's like a vegetarian version of MSG, but they call it something else. It's based on mushroom, and I actually use that. It's really good. Yeah.
Or use fish sauce.
Or
It's tons of amino acids.
Yeah. I mean, I pretty much put fish sauce whenever I'm like making spaghetti sauce.
Oh, totally.
Like red sauce, and just like let it sit for like 3 hours or something. Oh, it's so good.
Because you understand. Tassi understands, man.
So good. That depth is unmistakable.
Yeah, in Italy they add anchovies to their pasta.
That makes sense.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yep.
And
So for those beginners out there, if you guys aren't sure how to use fish sauce, I would pull the Tassi move, right, and tag him, and pull the Tassi move and use fish sauce in places on very traditional American familiar dishes like meatballs, spaghetti and meatballs. Anything with tomatoes in it. Add it to your chicken soup. I think it's great for chicken soup. And if you have any other questions, like anytime, I love answering fish sauce questions. Just DM me on Instagram or send me an email through my website. Either or.
I know this is gonna sound gross, but I melted some unsalted butter and put a little fish sauce in there, and then I like put that on the bread, and then I just like put it on a press.
Why is that bad? Why is that bad?
So it was
amazing.
It was so like just a little.
I'm about to shatter some worlds right now, but everyone here, a lot of people like garlic noodles, right?
Yeah.
You know what garlic noodles is made of? It's made with fish sauce, and it's made with butter, and it's made with garlic.
Over.
Hungry.
Can't hate on that.
No.
So
Oh my
anyway,
God.
wow, I think our audience really enjoyed fish sauce talk there.
It's gonna be a podcast.
My favorite chicken wings of all time are down from a local like sushi joint, bar and grill type place, and they have fish sauce on the wings. And I'm like, I could eat them for days. Plus, I mean, I don't know if this is a stereotype, but I definitely think it's true. Asians fried chicken like no other. Like it's just amazing. If I'm getting chicken wings from an Asian joint, I'm already in a good mood. You know what I mean?
Instant good mood. Yeah.
And you add that fish sauce on, then you're right. That particular, like, I don't smell. It doesn't stink at all to me. You know, I guess they caramelize. It's really sweet, actually. But yeah.
Fish sauce is everything, and when it's really good in Vietnam, we actually I don't know, you guys aren't old enough, but in Vietnam, to buy fish sauce, you carry a bowl to like the store down the street, like a 7-Eleven type store, but much smaller. You're like, can I have some fish sauce? And they'll just scoop it in, and we just go home. They eat that with rice. That's it. So good. So you want to hear a funny story about my grandma, who's in Paris right now, who is shelter place, right? So I called her. I'm like, hey, grandma, are you taking care of yourself? You've got things going on. You're good. She's like, oh, yes. I stocked up on rice and fish sauce, right? 2 20-pound bags, the kilo, 20-kilo bags of rice and a case of fish sauce.
It's amazing.
Yes. Yes.
Grandma, you're on dialysis. You can't even eat salt.
Priorities, though. She got the priorities right.
Yes.
Protein. There's aminos.
Protein.
And here's a fun fact about fish sauce in relation to your grandmother. Like most Asian diets, and Southeast Asian diets are very lean on protein. They don't have a lot of amino acids, especially the poorer villages. And fish sauce was a way where they could get the amino acids that they needed. If you hear most grandmother, matriarch, grandfather stories about poor times of, like, you know, being in rationing, being in war, like Trammy said, those were the two staples, was rice and fish sauce.
And so when I told her, I'm like, you know, you don't need all that fish sauce. And she's like 90, okay? And she's like, yeah, I know. And then she's like, but in America, I hear you guys stock up on toilet paper.
Can't eat toilet paper. Can't eat toilet.
That's so crazy.
I know, right? Toilet paper. Out of all the things, right? Toilet paper.
Yeah.
He wants to know, how do you say fish sauce in Vietnamese? I'll let Chef Tu go. Let's hear your Vietnamese.
Nuc mam.
Nuc mam.
You know what? You know, if you guys are watching, let's mouth it with me. Everyone on screen too, mouth it with me. Say nuc.
Nuc.
Mam.
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 Mom.
Is it because I have really big lips? I just accentuate it, like mouth it more.
It's good. It's good though. It's good for instructions.
Good for nuc mam.
Nuc.
I'm sure
I'm
viewers...
gonna be a GIF on somebody's Facebook or something like that.
Too late, bro. I already got you.
Awesome.
Okay, so Chef Tu, are you still doing your you know, okay, so you can't do your pop-up right now.
Yeah.
But we want you to do it. If once everything clears up, you got to come down and do it. But
Absolutely. Be more than happy to.
would be like, yes, we understand the restaurant industry is suffering. How can people help besides ordering online, you know, ordering pickup and all that? How else can people help?
I think in the short term, in the immediacy, if you want to help restaurants out, go and buy directly to go to the restaurant directly or call them directly and order directly from them. All those third-party services from DoorDash, from Yelp, Uber Eats, they take a huge chunk. It's a monopoly. They take a huge chunk away from the restaurant. And just to be fairly transparent, and being in the food industry for the past 15, 20 years personally myself, I know this to be true. Margins in restaurants are very, very, very slim. In addition to that, the second thing you could do is that support your local grocery markets. Go buy directly from them and try to steer away from places from Amazon. Amazon is extremely tempting. It seems to be the safest measure. And I'm not bashing Amazon. At the end of the day, if you want to support your local businesses, you have to show up, order directly, and exclude the third-party services. That's the short-term thing for you. For the long term, I think there's a fear people will still have post-COVID-19 about going out to their community spaces and returning to their normal lives. I would say to trust scientific facts and the new measures that these scientists will show us how to conduct ourselves out in public. Follow those measures and go back to your community spaces. Because if you don't go back to your community spaces, our retail and our food communities, our food entrepreneurs, our small businesses will fully collapse, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
So,
So do you think half of our restaurants will be gone after this?
So I think as of today, 20 million people are out of jobs. You know?
Damn.
That's crazy.
And, you know, and I quote Tupac, and Tupac said this in his darkest times when he was in jail. And in his darkest times, I felt that, well, let me say the quote first. Tupac said that fear is stronger than love. And he said that in his darkest times. If you allow fear to grow and you don't do anything about it, fear will conquer love. However, if you manage it right, love can conquer fear. You know, and I think that's the thing. Don't let our fears consume us. You know, if we let our fears consume us, it's going to destroy everything else. It's going to destroy our communities. It's going to destroy our businesses. So I think that's a very conscious thing. When I'm speaking out and whenever there's a public forum, I make sure to try to get that message across. Yeah. Fear is the same thing. Fear empowered. It's a different type of fear, but fear empowered the Nazis in World War I and World War II.
Oh yeah.
Well, it was specifically World War II. Excuse me. You know, so don't let fear conquer.
Yeah.
It's good advice.
That's good advice. So when restaurants again, and based on whatever the state mandates, based on science, if they say, hey, it's safe, go, it's okay. Based on science, right? So we're not
based on science, yeah.
So not like, oh, whatever you believe it is. Because at the end of the day, and I've shared this on social media, I'm not afraid for myself, but I don't want to be responsible for making other people sick.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yep.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. And I would say this as well too, is that in addition to not self-educating, but informing yourselves with the right organizations that are scientifically credible, don't just read the headlines. Read the full article. Yeah. Like there's an example, like yesterday, I think this morning I was reading that there was a headline where it says COVID-19 has mutated. But if you read the article further down, they're asking all these scientists, experts further down in the columns. It states that mutation is a regular process of any virus. And the fact that it's mutated, it's a good thing because they can differentiate what virus came from where and when it hit people in certain stages at certain times. Stuff like that, you know? So there's always these assumptions because we have these built-in narratives on, like, especially from movies, you know, on like what fears we should have or what fears we shouldn't have because these certain key terms happen. So I think that's the other thing too. It's like people need to be informed more so. And I think there's a lot of stuff. Respectfully, there's a lot of crap out there on in media and social media and online. It's hard to filter out which one's credible.
Well, it's like a full-time job too, right? But like that's a big responsibility because
absolutely
a lot of people writing those headlines, you know, they I don't want to overgeneralize, but like they have some other agenda, right? For the most part.
I mean, but we could be sure about this. It's like NPR, LA Times, San Francisco Chronicle, Washington Post, New York Times. If you fact checked and you read across 4 headlines or 5 headlines, everyone's saying the same thing, it's most likely to be the truth. However, don't go online or don't see something on Facebook and you see one article for some weird, uncredible space, but however, it triggers your fear. Don't use that as ammunition to spread your fear. And I think that's an unconscious thing, but a lot of people do that. You know, like I've seen people in arguments with people or friends and colleagues or whatnot, they're trying to make a point with me, and then they look it up on Google. They don't trust the credible sources, but they scroll 6 pages in until they find the article that proves their point. They show
That's
it
so
to
far
me.
back there.
It's a unique problem, I think, of our times, is that because so many people get their news through social media and they've sort of filtered out their feed to say the things they already believe, that echo chamber really bounces back, and people don't learn facts. And on both sides, like I could say the left and right thing, but however you attack this, whether you think it's all hocus pocus or that you need to wipe down every surface you step on every step, there are these extremes, and you kind of tend to hear the same news over and over and read the articles that affirm your current view. And I think it's a huge problem. But I think a lot of people don't look across and try to see the other information and see what else is out there. It's dividing, I don't know, families and friends too. It's such a divisive thing that it's kind of sad.
And thanks for mentioning that, Chris, the fact that it's dividing us. I don't understand. This is a systematic issue. You know, the people who are suffering the most are the people who are most susceptible or the most susceptible to society. It's elderly people and it's people of color. And it's in the statistics. This is a systematic issue. And it's really easy to default to demonize a full race of people. I think it would just make more sense, and I don't understand why people don't think this way. Why aren't we making our government institutions more responsible? The hate, the anger should be directed towards them. The pressure should be towards them. You know?
Yeah. Thank you for a very thoughtful,
100%.
this about the industry and also responsibility of media when it comes to recording with COVID. And
thank you, Sharmin.
Yes, you're welcome. And thank you all. I want to thank all of you for being here with us today. And so before we end our show, we want to have one more performance to Chris Locsin, who performing a piece called Melting Pots and Frying Pans.
Take it away, Chris.
It's awesome when you get to do a poem, with a chef, because half my poems are about food anyway.
Thank you.
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Likewise, like it's a blessing to hear you guys perform, and it's artists like yourself that gives me inspiration and keeps me moving forward. When times are tough. So I thank you on the behalf of my industry.
Right on.
So
our industry, excuse me.
Yeah.
Chris, when you're ready to go.
Okay. Little Lumpia sits silently in the center of a disposable aluminum pan waiting to be picked, plucked by a little boy's hand, or girls, or aunties, uncles, cousins, grandmas, grandpas. Actually, grandma wouldn't take into the table was blessed, but the rest of us, what can I say? My Lumpia sneak game is strong. I can do the handshake of the kids of Guam with my right while performing Grand Theft Lumpia with my left, behind the back like Steph, so you know I'm shooting for three. Grandma's is the best, and my wife will disagree, and we'd both be right. Lumpia is more feeling than food, and our memories were cooked up in different frying pans. Mine were made in an old chicken ranch in San Martin, California. We call it the ranch. At the ranch, we cook mainland memories on island time. We cook babies and bellies like cupcake wars, and every year there are new competitors with different colored frostings. We eat our hearts out on paper plates and drink living room libations. We share like Eucharist wines, passing mics from uncles to boys to uncle boys, from aunties with voices angelic to little nieces with voices they inherited from their aunties. At the ranch, every Christmas is a mistletoe's manifesto. And every Easter, a hard-boiled Holocaust. Every kid is a cousin. Every cousin is a character. Every character is a cog in a machine that makes memories. Every memory is a moment. Every moment is a story. Every story is a legend. Every legend makes this legacy. And this legacy is an echo bouncing back the bump of my grandma's thumping heart. These hollowed walls, the chamber that holds her memory. This old chicken ranch. Transformed from cockfights to cocktails, from American Dream to Guamanian Filipino reality show. This is what I mean when I introduce myself, when I tell you that my grandmother had 14 kids, 7 boys and 7 girls, 38 grandchildren, 28 great-grands, infinity extended fam, and not enough lumpia to go around. What can I say? My lumpia sneak game is strong.
Oh my gosh, that was amazing. Thank you so much for that. Wonderfully
Awesome.
Yeah.
so great.
Oh my god.
Awesome.
And our
Killed it.
yeah.
I think we all want lumpia right now, like with a little bit of fish sauce on it,
Ooh.
or like vinegar with like some chili. Damn.
Where can we get lumpia right now? Name a restaurant locally that we can all go and pick up some food right now.
Lumpia Company, Alex Rotto, based in Oakland. Yeah, E40 is his business partner.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Lumpia Company.
Yes.
Were those the guys that were in like at the Giants Stadium? Is that
Yeah, the same dudes. The same dudes, yeah.
Right on.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Like to do is everyone say goodbye, and then we're going to end the show with a video where Chef Tu is giving a little tour of a few restaurants in Oakland.
Cool.
Remind us of what it used to be like, and it will be that way again. just
Awesome.
hope and happiness. And I wish you all to be safe. And thank you for joining us today. And we'd like to thank our audience and for everyone who chatted. We're seeing every single word that you type in support of us. We really appreciate it. So thank you all.
Thank you, Jeremy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Peace.
Historically, this was an industrial place with warehouses and steel manufactories. The dining district's been growing a lot, and seeing how the community has evolved, it really feels good. Pull. Holy shit. I got your back, bro. My name is Tu David Phu, and I'm a Vietnamese American chef, and I do pop-ups. Oakland's my hood, and these are my spots. Pho Hung Way. Tiny little hidden spot in East Oakland that does amazing chicken pho. If I don't get this at least once a week, I'm gonna get cranky. This is my fixing, you know? Usually the pho you guys have, everything's in the bowl. They do it different here. Chicken on the side. This way you could kind of build your perfect bite. This is the way my dad taught me. So I go ginger scallion sauce on the spoon, then chicken, noodles, make a big ass bite. And the reason why I like the bigger noodles is they pick up more of the broth than the noodles. And when you slurp them, it's like 20 times better. And they do a few things and they do it well. Drip Line is a great breakfast and lunch spot tucked away in West Oakland. Chef Noor is killing it with Malaysian street food. I visit once a week, and I'm always going after the chicken fat rice. My mom and dad always made it at home, and it's definitely a nostalgic childhood comfort food for me. The different twist is the chicken usually just poached very gently, very soft and delicate. Then she fries it to get a crispy skin, and then it wouldn't be chicken fat rice without the chicken broth. Let me stir it up first. Noor does very interesting, innovative things with baos. She makes her own starter, and when you make a starter in Oakland, California, it's going to be sourdough. She stuffed it with a Santa Rosa plum preserve. PB&J Asian style. You can't go fucking wrong with that. Now we're kind of sort of the outskirts of downtown Chinatown. This is Bai Ho. If you want to call anything authentic, this is the closest you'll get. I come here for a dining experience. Their food specifically reminds me of being in Saigon. Everything from the decor, the service, to the types of food that they serve. If you're gonna get anything here, you have to order the man cung. It's a rice batter that they pour over a cloth that's steamed. And as that rice batter congeals, they put a filling inside of it. Anything from bean sprouts to ground pork to mushrooms. And they roll it up like a crepe. And it's the best I've ever had here in the States. For most provinces in Vietnam, there's a specific style of eating. It's always suggested that you do wraps out of whatever you're doing. So in this case, bánh cọc. Bánh cọc is a rice cake, and they pour it into these little cast iron molds, and it forms a crispy crust around the outside. It's just a delicious, creamy and crunchy bite. There's nothing like it in the world. People are starting to really understand and appreciate what we have here. Oakland welcomes everyone. If you just look around, like, it's all walks of life. I think that's so beautiful, you know?